disappear and I stand up and I see my bike like bouncing and stuff. And then I just told to myself, well, I guess you're not winning. It's overcoming adversity that brings out an extra level of performance for me.
Yeah.
And it's been a bit of my personal puzzle as an athlete to figure out how to bring that without the adversity. Actually, I'm like totally cutting a part of the story because people are going to think I'm insane, but I'm just going to tell you it's going to be the hook.
Andréane Lanthier Nadeau, welcome to the Downtime Podcast, also known as ALN. How you doing?
Yeah, good. Happy to be here in person.
Yeah. We're like talking just before we came on. I think it was 2018. We did it remote with you back at home.
2018? I would have guessed 2019.
Yeah. And we couldn't even see each other back then. It was like pretty much just a phone call style recording. And
that kind of blows my cover that I've been around for a long time.
Same here.
Yeah.
7 years in the podcast world, which seems kind of crazy, but
it's wild because it does feel like, honestly, it was yesterday for me. I don't know for you, but it feels like, it blows by.
It feels like yesterday and also feels like a lifetime ago. Like it's weird, huh?
Yeah, a little bit of both. I agree.
Time's a strange thing. As always, I've done a little bit of research, and the most interesting thing that popped out in my research this time was that when you're getting dressed for a flight, you put your socks on first, but only on days when you're getting on a plane.
Where was that?
It was on a wide open, like Wise Words, I think.
Oh God. Yeah, it's kind of true. But like, since I wrote that in this article, I kind of like doubt it. So if I'm conscious, I'll like do regular dress up order, which I believe to be underwear before socks, just so people know I'm normal. But if I'm unaware on a flight morning, I still I don't know. I think it's because I lay out my clothes the night before I fly usually.
Like real organized because you know you're traveling.
Like the packed stuff is in the bag, and then it's usually like super early or whatever. So maybe I'll put the socks last and the socks are first on the file or something. Yeah.
It's not a superstition. Are you a superstitious person?
A little bit. Okay. Yeah. I broke a mirror 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay.
And I was with my partner Phil, who used to race downhill, and then another one of his friends, and they're both racers, and there is a part of chance in our job. Like, I think it's when riders are asked if they're superstitious, it's just like we have to acknowledge that there is a part of chance, and actually chance, I believe, plays a role in everything in your life.
Okay.
So a little bit is the answer. Like, I definitely like turned around counterclockwise 12 times and threw salt over my shoulder after I broke the mirror.
But it fixed it, right? You've not had any bad luck. We've been all right.
Have I had bad luck? I don't think I have bad luck.
Okay.
But definitely didn't have the racing I wanted in the last few years.
Okay.
So sometimes I think, I'm like totally cutting a part of the story because people are going to think I'm insane, but I'm just going to tell you it's going to be the hook. So people can, so then the boys were like, are you going to be okay? Like this, and they were like stressing. And then I was like Googling all sorts of like answers to what to do when you break a mirror. And we drove to the cemetery. And if you touch like a tombstone with their cracked mirror, the soul is supposed to like absorb the bad luck. And
I love this.
So we had a little trip to the cemetery, and then the boys were just kind of supportive because they didn't want me to carry that at any race start. They wanted me to know good luck was on my side. So yeah, I guess you could say I'm probably superstitious.
I'm getting that vibe. Yeah. Love it. Right. So let's dig back then into some of the results. There was a couple that I kind of wanted to pick out, and
for sure, yeah,
they might be some of the slightly more painful ones, but I think the story is really interesting.
Yeah.
And the first of those is La Tuile 2021. So you get a feel for where this is going.
I guess we need to catch up because if 2018 was our last podcast, I hadn't even been that successful yet. Like I had some pretty strong results, but then 2019 was the year I finished third overall and racked up podium consistently. And then in a weird sense, like, I'll let you go, but I think
this is good. Yeah, take us through it.
COVID just hitting athletes at different stages in their career and different humans in their lives too. Like, I think now that we're like 4 years past, like we have the space maybe to process a bit how it all hit us differently. And I never really realized, for me, it was like the height of my career, and then COVID.
So the momentum kind of just went.
Yeah, and I didn't want to believe it in the moment. It was like, no, you know, like I keep going. But to be fair, it really transformed our jobs and like how we traveled and created a stress. Like I think the first year we traveled when the vaccines weren't out yet, and we had 3 races that year in Europe.
Yeah.
As North Americans, like I'm a pretty laid back person, but like I would wake up like at night and panic, like stressed, because it was like if you test positive, like you have to stay in Europe, like can't go home. And so yeah, for me, that's when it hit. It was like height of the career. And then I remember Jesse, Remy, and I, because we were all still on Rocky Mountain at the time, we were shooting the launch release for the mainline Smith helmet in Provo. And we were all like a bit like being fussy racers about like not wanting to hit big stuff because we didn't want to get injured because we had been working hard all winter and we were headed to South America. And then on that shoot, we got the news that the races were canceled. Whoa. And then we just started hitting big jumps on Provo and had a good time, actually.
So Smith got an awesome launch video.
Yeah.
But racing was done for.
Yeah, so that was crazy. But yeah, that does lead us to where you were kind of going, which is 2021 in Latville.
Yeah, so we had that like weird short season in 2020. And like, I guess a lot of athletes struggled with, do I train? Don't I train? Do I take a break? How hard do I work? And like, it was just a messy kind of year. So yeah, coming into 2021, things were still very much not normal, right? Like travel was still weird. There was still maybe still lockdowns. I can't remember. I've tried to block it out of my mind.
I know, isn't it crazy? I think there was still lockdown. It was like when you would come back to your country, like I remember for the Kiwis, it was like super expensive. For us, it was just needed a place to be for 14 days. And
very weird times. But we had the double headers. They sort of kept things like together and tried to simplify the season a little bit. And I think you'd got, was it third in the first of the Latville double headers? Like you'd had a pretty solid result.
Yeah, I think it was rainy and it was like the Wednesday race, and I got third on that one.
Yeah, and then so I guess obviously feeling good, feeling confident coming into the second one, and we were in the pro stage days back there where you'd race the pro stage like the evening before the
televised,
day, I guess. Yeah, televised.
Yeah, you can find that on YouTube.
There you go. Well, talk us through it, right? Because it was going pretty well.
Yeah.
And technically it finished pretty well, right? In a way, because you were 7 seconds up and took the lead, I think, in that
kind of wild. Stage. Hey, maybe that's a good confidence boost for me for next week.
There you go.
Yeah, so we had pro stage and race day. So pro stage was just a one thing, and I remember vividly Miranda Miller was still racing and Melanie Pougin too. So they were the girls that were starting in front of me for pro stage, and the vibe at the top of pro stage, like so like nerve wracking and like way more adrenaline. And I remember seeing Miranda get out of the gate and like Miranda Miller downhill sprint. And I was just like, I really have to go. And then Mel Pougin was riding super strong in those years. And so I just like sprinted as hard as I could into the wood. And I remember watching the review after and how I hit the first corner, and it was like to the edge of not working. So I was like, okay, I want a good run. And then, just did a super dumb mistake. There was one rock garden where every rider was pretty like conscious about line choices, and it was like quite chunky or whatever. And I had a little bit of a doubt, and I just unclipped one feet. And then I dabbed, but I fully like just, I don't know what the medical term is. Like it's not dislocated because it comes right back in, but it's like my ankle goes out and in. Yeah. I'm a pretty like, I have like hyperlax joints.
Okay.
So I think I probably, if I didn't, it would have been maybe a broken ankle. So in a sense, win-win. But I remember just hitting that, hearing like a bit of a pop, like, and then sitting on my seat, and there was maybe like 150 meters to the finish, and just like putting my foot on my pedal and being like, oh, okay, like it's holding, you know? And then you'd rock up to the stage, and I was just got off my bike, and I was like, oh, I really hurt myself. It's so bad. And I started crying, and then Tara was like, how can you hurt yourself and be like 7 seconds up, you know? So it was a bit of a wild start, for sure. But that's, probably one of my best stages in my career.
That's cool. Yeah. But then you had to obviously, rather than doing what you want to do, which is recover, eat, all that good stuff, you're off to hospital. Yeah.
And thank God, honestly, like Tara Lazarski, she was the physio and manager of Rocky, and she definitely like kept us held together. And packed me a lunch, called me an ambulance, and then I was like, Latrille is a pretty small mountain town, and so I'm at the back of the ambulance, like backside, and then we're going down this col, and I'm getting like car sick a bit, and then we stopped at a gas station, and everybody only speaks Italian. I get transferred from one ambulance to the other, and I'm just like, who knows at this point where I'm going? And like I'm looking at my phone battery because it all happened like pretty quick, you know. Because the goal was like, well, if you can continue, because it was also the last race of a block, I think, because we had like a few, and then that was a break after this, so it was kind of like, so we wanted to know if anything was broken, was the main thing. So yeah, I'm just alone at the hospital. Pretty sure I had some knitting, so knitted a few rows and got an x-ray, and then Trotter, my mechanic at the time, waited like 3 hours for me and had a dinner in the car, was so hungry, and I still have that photo of him like, and never ate the dinner, like left it for me, and like just like legendary stuff. And I believe that like we can lead into that later, but like pro teams like really allow athletes to do feats that seem extraordinary, but they only happen because there are other humans that are dedicated to that one performance
that we never see, but are like the legends behind the legends kind of thing.
Absolutely. Like that's such a shitty evening, like waiting at a hospital in Italy, like in the van. So yeah, I think we ended up being cleared, no fracture, drove home, and then we had like this nice machine which compresses and does ice, and I did like 3 cycles in the night or something, and then we woke up, Tara taped it, and then we assessed the risk to the reward, and the reward was potentially my best result ever. So, and then the risk was like re-injury. But yeah, it was like start to do the first stage and see how it goes.
Yeah. And up to a point, it went pretty well, right?
Yeah. I was in a lot of pain. So the girls were like all being like super supportive. And in a funny sense, I think in my career, I'm being like the tough cookie. I wish it was like the winning cookie, but I don't know, it speaks to my character, and I would never quit or give up. So that's how I was raised and brought up. And the girls were super supportive. Like just after the first stage, I was like, okay, I remember being like, if I lost more than 30 seconds, I quit. Like, because like there's at some point, like how much pain do you want to put yourself through to get like a result that wouldn't move you forward in the overall, like, so I was like, okay, if I lost more than 30 seconds on stage 1, I quit. And then I think I lost 5 seconds, or maybe like not even so I was still leading. And then Mel Pugin had her phone and would look and tell me, and then I was like, okay, I guess I just gotta keep going. And stage 2 was like a super big hike a bike. So that was I knew that was the hardest part for me for that day, because I was just like wobbling around, and Morgan Shaw really helped me during that hike a bike. She was there just cheering me on and stuff. And I think that's the beauty of enduro, is like sharing the hardship. And then when it says go, you're with yourself. So that's really something I've always loved about this sport. And yeah, so get to the top of stage 2, super fit, or stage 3, I guess, super physical stage. And that's when Hattie was breaking into the scene.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
And then we were all like, well.
Did it have a big mid-stage climb, that one? Was it that stage?
That was the stage that like started around a castle for a good photo for Sven. And then it was pretty tech, and then it had like a super big field sprint in the grass. So I was kind of like, well, I just gotta like give it everything I've got, you know? And then I think I won that stage as well. And I remember like being in the field, and they had mowed like just where the finish was. And I remember being with my head down and just like not even like looking up or to the finish, like just looking at if the tall grass was like beside me, and I was like, as long as it's like on both sides, I'm good, you know. So like really dug so deep, and then I was going to the pits, and then everybody was trying to lie to me.
Oh, really?
Just not telling me how good it was going. And then I was like, guys, I know. Like, so we did the ice machine again with Tara and checked my taping. And I remember Chris Ball actually came by and congratulated me on how strong I looked in that finish and stuff. So there's definitely like a little bit of magic going in the air. And just... It's interesting for me, like what brings that kind of performance out of me, because as I'm sure you're going to bring up, most times it's overcoming adversity that brings out an extra level of performance for me.
Yeah.
And it's been a bit of my personal puzzle as an athlete to figure out how to bring that without the adversity. Like, how do you bring that edge when everything is working for you? And I think that is something that pro athletes who have everything done and made for them, like, how do you bring that edge?
Yeah, or how do you create some like adversity that's not too adverse? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like something that just gives you that fire and that drive without having your ankle in pieces or
no, it's really interesting to me, and to be honest, I haven't fully found the answer yet. So I wonder if I will. I mean, I maybe have, but
tricky though.
Have
you found anything that works on that helps you dig into that like extra couple of percent?
I think for me, it's like I really have to be doing it for myself, like to prove myself. And I think I grew up maybe in a sense like hindering myself, like maybe not training as hard as I could, or like not doing every single little thing so that I would have something, always a little something to overcome. But when you get to a level where you train very hard, you have everything dialed for you, your bike is perfect. Like it's kind of, how do you keep just doing it for yourself? Because you have all these other stressors of just like wanting to deliver. And so I don't know if I found it. Like not in my last few years on the Rocky Mountain team. Like I was disconnected from the process, and my riding wasn't making me proud. And that's just personal, like it wasn't bad or anything. Like I still gave it my all, but I wasn't feeling fulfilled. So that's why I did this big change this year and changed program, is to reconnect with that and reconnect with like a riding that really makes me proud.
We'll definitely talk about the change.
I feel like I'm jumping from
you're
one
all
to
good. You're all good. Do you think like when you have that adversity, that thing, do you think it takes, to some extent, it takes the result a little bit out of the picture? Because the result becomes, I'm going to overcome this. And I'm going to smash this. I don't care. I'm going to prove how strong I am.
I think it takes away the pressure.
Yeah,
absolutely. And then now I'm just like, am I putting myself through this? Like, is it like, overthinking for sure. But I do believe that when you have something to overcome, then the pressure is immediately taken off your shoulder, because the focus in that Le Tuile race became, can you make it through stage 1? Okay. Can you make it up to stage 2? Okay. And in a sense, that's such a silly lesson that we're taught like from super young athletes. It's like, focus on the present, be in the moment, one thing after the other. One thing doesn't influence the next thing. So it's just like really interesting to me how,
And you're just battling the injury. You're not battling the time. You're not battling anyone else. You're just like, my body's not going to stop me do this. I'm gonna get it done.
So very, very interesting. If anybody's got answers, I'm open. Like, please comment and
drop
hit
into
me
the
up.
DMs.
I've paid a lot of psychiatrists or psychologists to try and figure it out. So
And you've got a psychology qualification as well, right?
I studied. I have a Bachelor of Science in Psych.
And we're still like,
we're still here. Yeah.
It's crazy. The mind's a complicated thing.
It is, but it's a wonderfully strong thing too. And I think it's, at the end of the day, it's using the strength to full my performance, and not using my mind to be in my way in a sense. Is harness that strength to do well. And then sometimes that's hard, like, especially when you're confronted with challenges. So
for sure. Let's come back to 2021 Le Tuile.
So
you're leading, I think, coming into the final stage?
In the pits, Then there's one more stage that's super downhill. I think Hattie wins that one. I have a little bit of a tumble, but like, there's good tumbles and bad tumbles. That was a good one. Just a little roll back to the bike. And then I think I'm like ahead by 7 seconds into the last stage. I know at this point the result. And then I just don't believe in it. Like that first time, I'm just like, oh my God, I have to do something insane to keep that lead. Like I need to, like, I don't believe that my riding and what I've been doing is enough. So I just clutch into, and I feel like a lot of riders who have probably been in that position before end up doing that mistake. But yeah, I go way too fast, and there's a corner with rock slabs into a flat right, and I'm just like, yep, I'm not braking onto that, and I just hit the ground so hard. Like one of those where it's just bike disappear, and I stand up and I see my bike like bouncing and stuff, and then I just thought to myself, well, I guess you're not winning. So yeah, definitely like rookie maneuver. And like lots of introspection has gone by since then.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, how do you deal with that? Because the win was there, right? Really, probably. It could have been taken. Hattie was on form, and I'm sure you've had a race on, but like,
it was the first time I ended up being in a leader's position.
Yeah.
I think the only other time I remember Bex Barahona calculating when we did Trophy of Nations.
Okay.
I had overall fastest time that day, but
that's cool.
It was like a team thing, so it's different.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Believe in yourself, I guess, is the lesson. Because if I had just dropped in being like, "You got this," like don't do anything crazy. Just ride. Just believe that what you're bringing to the table is enough.
Yeah.
But it's almost like I didn't believe that I could like win one. It was like you need to do something crazy for you to have this. But no, like I just should have ridden. So that's my learning. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? That you've won the pro stage by 7 seconds.
Still
you've had other stage wins, and you're still not like able to.
Yeah.
I guess because it all happened in that same weekend, maybe like it's too fresh to be like, oh, I've got a history of this now. I can kind of trust it.
Yeah, because it was like a bit of a breakthrough performance. I had been second, third, plenty, but like to win a stage by 7 seconds, maybe I just thought I was riding on some extra things. I just didn't believe that what regular Andréane can put in is enough.
Yeah.
It's such corny lessons. Like it's always that. I feel like as the more I grow older, the more like all these things that these coaches told you when you were young, like they were right. And
but it sounds so simple, doesn't it, when it's talked about? But to actually do it, like all of the lessons are not complicated.
Yeah.
But executing on those things is not.
Yeah.
It's way harder than it actually sounds when someone tells you like trust the process.
It's true. It's so true. Yeah.
Yeah. Wild. All right, let's hit up Whistler 2022.
Yeah. Is that it's 2022.
Yeah. Talk us through that one.
Whistler 2022 home race. Love it. Please, Lord, like my dream is to have an EDR in Whistler before I retire, and honestly time is running out. Like I'm definitely going to be racing full tilt next year, so fingers crossed.
Chris Ball, if you're listening.
I know they're doing everything they can to make this series go overseas. It's just in a sense like COVID hit athletes, but COVID also hit the event organizers across the world. So
and the sport, the industry, right? Like we're still recovering.
Yeah, we had the big boom. Now we bounce back through the low. But so that would definitely be my dream. So in 2022, very happy to have a race in Whistler, still on the Rocky Mountain program then. So we have Jesse and Remy and my mom and brother are there to watch. We start with 2 stages on Blackcomb, unreal tracks. Like it's just, in a sense, I was thinking about Morgan Char, who won Combe Bleu last week, and the way she talked to me at the finish line, like I was so happy. Like it was drifting, I was hooking, it was perfect. Like, and that's like exactly how you feel as a Canadian racing Whistler, I think, because it's like what you know. And so just super excited. And then we were on a ride in Squamish the week before, and it's a bit drier than I expect, and I just overcook it in a turn. I crash and I do the other ankle.
Oh, no.
Same noise, same vibe, golf ball size ankle. And then I'm just like, nah, like you gotta just be joking right now. But at the same time, I'm also like, oh, I know I can do this.
Yeah, we've been here before.
Yeah. go get an x-ray, whatever, same old story. So yeah, and a bit of a better turnaround. Like it's not like the night before the race. So it's a week before. So yeah, a bit of a twist of events, and then honestly annoyance, like the fact that this is happening to me again, and then also the overthinker in myself of being like, are you doing this to yourself? Like what's going on, you know? And then yeah, so microclimate I think was the first stage.
Yeah.
And I end up winning that one by a hair in front of Visa. So I was like, okay, like this can work, you know, but yeah, definitely not like your magical home race. I did a few mistakes along the day as well. It was a bit of the black cone was like 1-2 stages done, and then there was like a whole other race like where we had to go up. We had like a Garbo stage, then we hiked all the way up to Ride Down Slide into Baby Heads, which was my biggest test of the day as well, just wobbling up to the stage. But on stage 3, which was, I think it was like misfire to delayed fuse or something like that, my chain guide was weird at the start, just like 5 riders before I drove. So I like panicked a bit, worked on my chain, put it back, and then forgot to put my clutch on.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. And that's just like such a peewee mistake. You do it once, but then I drop in and I'm like, and I hear it and I'm like, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. And my own fault, but my chain ended up dropping into delayed fuse, which is like pretty technical and like ends with a little bit of pedaling onto a flow track. And I was like, no way. So I actually finished 3rd on that stage because I think I was so focused on cornering and keeping my speed up. And then honestly, I got to the bottom of that and I was like, I can do anything.
Yeah, if you can smash 3rd with no chain.
Yeah. So it was that energy of just like absolute fuel where you're just like, okay, I can do anything. Like, let's go. Like, bring on the next thing. And then go up to Ride Down Slide. Ride Down Slide. It's a super hot day. It's a pretty hard race for everybody, I think. And ride Down Slide, and I get this weird feeling of like lots of traction, and then I'm just like, no, it's fine, ignore it. And honestly, as you can probably tell by the time we're in this podcast, I overthink quite a lot. So I'm like, you're just thinking that, like, you don't have your tire's not losing air. Like, you're just thinking that, whatever, keep going. And then I get to the bottom, and then we have to hike back up to 1199, and transfers were pretty tight that day. So because of the reseed from pro stage, I guess I started last. So get to the bottom, the girls are there, and then I just go to fill my bottle and I go to start the transfer and my tire's flat. And then everybody's like, are you okay? Can you? And I was like, yep, I'm fine. Don't worry. And just like immediate solution mode. And then I just like try to fix my tire, put my tube in. My tube that I was carrying for God knows how many races had a hole in it. So I have like insane arm pump from Ride Down Slide, and then I take it back out. Adrian Dai, I think, ends up fixing my flap, but I've already lost like 10 minutes because there's a delay between top man and female. So fix my tire, whatever. And then my buddy McKay actually shows up, and like it's like a movie moment of my life for sure. Like, grabs my chin bar and he's like, you're not losing this race on this transfer. And then I was like, holy heck, I'm still leading? Like, what the fuck? I guess we forgot to talk about pro stage, because there was pro stage of that race too, and it was 1199.
Okay.
And Hattie had won. I think I had won, but we were I think I was second on pro stage, and it was just the big drops and everything. So that race was just so cool. Anyway, I'm like smashed at this point, and we're trying to walk up this transfer pedal walk, and I'm just like completely out of it because everything's hitting me. I'm like, my ankle barely works. I had a flat. I dropped a chain. I have to do this transfer with like 10 minutes off, and we've been tight all day. And then Jesse and McKay and Jose Borges ended up like kind of pushing my bike, like pushing me, like really like cheering me on the whole time. And Thomas Vanderham, who in those years, like we became super tight, and he helped me with my riding quite a bit. And I never thought I would get him to agree to come to practice an EDR with me, but I ended up pitching it to him because I had hired him as like a bit of a technical coach over the winter. And then I just took a chance and I was like, hey mate, like you think you want to like come to the World Cup and like practice with me? And I thought for sure he'd say nah. And he ended up coming, and we had done all the practice together, and he was waiting at the top and I wasn't showing up. So he kind of like cruised down the transfer, and he saw me and I had like the Kushcore over my shoulders, like just like absolute wrecked. And then he was just like, can I do anything to help? And I was like, no, like you can just like be there. And then he was just like, and I looked at him, I was like, that's like enduro rock bottom right here.
This is as bad as it gets.
And we don't know if we're making this transfer still. So we're going as hard as we can. And then we get to the top and there was a course hold. So we have actually like a 30 or whatever minutes delay. And I make it. So I'm just like, okay. And then I just rest. We pump up my tire pretty to make sure, because there was the big step down, the ruck gap, and I was like, I don't want to flat again, you know, and then all the bike park as well. So I drop in, and then my race run in the pro stage, which was 11:99, was super hectic. Like the start was super wild, like not perfect at all. And I was like, let's just ride. And at this point, I know I've been here. Like I've had a busted ankle, and I was leading a race in 2021 in Latvia. And I was like, you didn't believe in yourself then, like believe in yourself now. And then all the girls are kind of like, oh, like repeat. Like, and I remember like Bex looking at me and being like, yeah, like you got this. And then I was just like, oh, I know. And then, so at this point, I'm really trying not to make the same mistake I made.
Yeah.
I was like, you're enough. Oh, so corny. Like, you're enough. You should believe in your riding. What you're putting on the track is good.
Yeah.
And I'm just ready to have like a good run. And then I just hit all the little things perfect, hit the rock gap into the wooden step down. And then I just like think like, I really don't want to be short on this step down. First, because it's massive. You really don't want to be short on it. But also because I don't want to risk my tire.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let's just push real hard into these two berms. And it's way drier than the day before when we did pro stage. And I just push into the right before the wooden ramp. And I just slide out.
No way.
Yeah. And it was like... Yeah, I was smart, you know, it wasn't dumb. I was trying to ride smart, and then I misread how dry it was, misread that maybe my tire had quite a bit more pressure. So maybe a little less traction into the berm. And maybe the berm was more used than yesterday too, because more rider had gone through. So like a bit of a few things compounded, and then I'm just sliding. And I have that sequence of photos from like a dad that was watching with his kids, and it's just like 5 photos of me sliding, and when I really want to hurt my feelings, I look back at it.
Watch your dreams washing away.
Yeah, and then I just like, it was like just not even like, you know, the first time I stood up and I was like, well, you're really not doing this time. But then it was just like, no, like no way. And then I was just like, I'm cursed. Like, and then I'm like, what the hell, you know? And so I go back, I keep going. I think Hattie catches me a bit down, and then I'm like, well, definitely not winning. And then I was like, cross the line, and then it says that I'm 5th. So not only am I not winning, I don't get to be on the podium at my home race. I don't get to be on the podium when Jesse and Remy were both on the podium. When everybody from the brand I rode for was there. Absolutely. I remember we used to debrief as a team, and we were debriefing at the Chicago airport because we were on the way to Berg.
Yeah.
And I remember like sob crying and just being like, I can't believe like I didn't deliver this for my team, you know, to have the 3 of us on the podium. So yeah, a bit of a bummer.
Brutal. How do you deal with that then? Because like it feels like okay, you could, I mean, you could blame yourself for these things, right? But also feels like there's some fate creeping into some of this stuff. I don't know whether we believe in that or not, who knows? But like, you've had the victory snatched away from you twice.
Yeah.
And especially in Whistler, like you say, that's even more painful. Like, how do you deal with it? I guess there must be, when the results aren't going the way you want, there must be some kind of darker times, I suppose.
I guess I was just like, honestly, kind of numb. Like, and then other competitors like Isa, who I'm actually really tight with, like writes me this amazing card, and she's just like, the climb and the fight is cooler than the winning.
Nice.
Like, it's like everything's in this, and like in a sense, I think it like dissociated me from the process and made me not believe in doing all the process to get the outcome, because I had been doing the process and I felt like I wasn't receiving the outcome I wanted.
Yeah.
So like 2023 was actually like really weird for me season wise, because I was almost disconnected from doing the process, because it is ever consuming. Like to be at the world level, and when we have riders like Isa and Richie that deliver like consistently like they do, like that's insane. Like there's so many variables that have to come in, like whether it be reading if the berm is a bit like, there's so many things that have to come together. So I really respect people that can deliver at that level. And in 2023 I was just like, I'm owed this outcome. Like I know I can, I've proven I can. Like, so I was angry almost. And I didn't really like my day to day, which is a bit sad. Whatever your job is. So like a huge disconnect, and like riding, like not making myself proud, and like having crashes because like trying to do too much, like not believing that I was doing well. And so just like not cool.
It doesn't sound like a fun year.
No 2023 was hard on me, for sure.
You get in your head a bit as well, I guess. Like it's a bit of a downward spiral with that kind of stuff.
And isn't it funny that like you just, as an athlete, that you're there and then you kind of know what you have to do to get out of it, but like you said, like applying those lessons and applying those the advice that people give you, like it takes a lot for things to like go into a good motion.
You kind of got locked into like measuring yourself in results instead of in process, right? Because you lost a bit of faith in the process.
Absolutely. And I always said you have to be in the process, you have to believe in the process, but I also realized, like, not to use big words, but like I've been a racer since I was very young. I had a full XC career of believing in the process, and then I had the enduro days of big success, then a bit of a harder time believing in the process. So maybe I was just burnt out last year. I realized like maybe I shouldn't have been trying to push myself on the World Cup circuit, but I believed I should still, and I was supported by a team, and I didn't want to have a disconnect because I didn't know if I could bring it back, So, but looking back, definitely my 100% wasn't 100% last year. I gave everything I had, but it wasn't 100%.
You weren't the full ALN that year?
No,
How do you go and find the full ALN?
It was a bit of a quest, honestly. Kind of knew that I needed change for sure.
You had a bit of change in 2023 in a way, though, right? Because Jesse left the team for Canyon. And am I right in thinking he took his mechanic and Tara with him? And Tara was like your physio, but I think a lot more than that as well.
Yeah. Trotter was actually my mechanic. So Trotter ended up going with Jesse. I think the correct way to say it would actually be to say that Trotter went to work for Canyon. And at the end of the day, like, people who work for teams, like, they're people trying to make a living and like working conditions. And so everybody kind of went to themselves and being like, what do I want for myself? And then made those decisions based on that. And I really respect that. It was hard because I think any team environment that was successful, when it does come to a change or an end, is difficult. I think where I maybe was wrong is I didn't go to myself. I didn't go to myself and be like, wait, do I need?
Yeah, okay.
I just stayed and I was like, I need to keep this program going. Like, I believe in this program.
Yeah.
I want this team to be a legacy for the upcoming North American riders, because honestly, it's hard to have like a pro team from North America on this circuit. So I just really believed in that. But then I was like fully not looking after myself. My focus was so outward. So I don't think that changed in 2023. I don't think it served me.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense.
Yeah. So yeah, I just finished 2023 and I was like, well, first physically, mentally, physiologically, I can't do another season like this.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, that's step one.
Yeah.
So where do I find what I need? And yeah, it was the tough time of the industry too. Probably the worst time to try and change. Everybody thought I was kind of crazy when I said I was leaving. And
so that was your decision then? It wasn't that Rocky wanted to change things up. It was you were like, right, I need to freshen things.
In a circumstantial way. Everybody was kind of on 2 years but me. So I was getting re-signed, and then there was movement within how the team was going to be organized. It's now ran by Ludovic, who also runs the Ludanville World Cup and like had kind of a Rocky development team. So now it's based in Europe. So that was a big change for me as well, if I was going to jump on board with that program. And then I kind of realized everything was going to change at that point. And I was like, what do I need? What do I want? And I think I raced the downhill World Cup in Mont Saint Anne. And then I was finishing my first practice lap and I just saw the guy from Commental Canada, and I'd never really introduced myself. We knew of each other, and I was like, hey, what's going on next year with you guys? Because I knew Commental was a brand that really has racing at heart and probably a good boat to be onto. And that ended up leading into a meeting that I thought was going to be like, oh yeah, we can give you bikes. But it ended up being more than that. There was some interest in pushing the trail bikes in North America, especially with a female. I don't think they had like a woman athlete in North America on the metas. So kind of like worked. And just like that's a very like short, because lots happened. Like I talked to everybody. I was like putting out like Hail Marys out there, like just like like this is my last, like, like let's do it or whatever. And in the industry, like I received a lot of support, even though there wasn't like amazing offer on my table, because it just wasn't this season for that. And to be honest, I'm very objective with what I delivered as well. Like I was 12th overall. I hadn't like rocked up on a podium in a long time. I almost won Whistler in 2022. That's awesome. But like on a sheet of paper, that is not a win,
not the easiest like negotiation position, I guess, in a time when things are tight.
So I really believe that in a sense, like I was kind of reaping what I sowed out there in the industry, like of just like the way I conducted myself, how I raced, why I raced, the brand that I built. So I'm super thankful that I ended up finding something, and that people helped me finding something, whether it be Damien from Yeti. Like we bounced ideas quite a bit. He helped me, and just like lots of people out there willing to help me. So and the Commental Canada meeting ended up being good. And then Elliot Jameson was also talking to them. He's a 22-year-old racer, and I feel like he's been around forever because he did XC and downhill. He was on the Norco program for a few years, and he was talking with Commental Canada as well. And then once both our names became associated with Wei Tien Ho, who's the junior that was already on that program, there was a bit of traction in our area with 7 Mesh and even like partnerships. Like we have an architecture firm that sponsors
so strange.
us.
I've never seen anything like that in mountain biking. It's cool though to have something different coming in.
And in a sense it was funny when we had the pink bike release, like people were like, oh, what is that weirdest sponsor
Stark
ever?
Or something,
It's called Stark Architecture. And in a sense, sports is ran by outside of sports money. Like you look at any big like this was like the Mercedes-Benz World Cup for so many years, you know, and all. So I think it's a bit of a funny thing. It's just because mountain biking is so core that we don't expect like outside money to be like portrayed, or, and I mean, it's a very small scale. Like we're a super small team, but yeah, they're just, everybody rides at that office. One of my good friend works for them, and the guy who owns the company is actually Ben Arnott's brother, and Ben Arnott is worked in the industry and has a
Nico's mechanic, and
worked with Jack too. So no, it's interesting how that worked out, and that's thanks to Derek Choi, who's the marketing at Commensal Canada. So without him, like, this wouldn't have like come together as much. And then I ended up bringing some relationships for myself. Like technically we only signed a frame deal this year. So my hopes and goals would be to make this more of a, looping back to what I said, like having a North American team that young North Americans can aspire to be taken care to go to the World Cups, especially that they're a bit more in Europe now. So like doing it without the support is really tough. But so I think we laid down an awesome foundation to do that. And how do you find the real ALN, or how do you reconnect with yourself, is just like exposing myself to challenges. And I realized that in 2023 and since 2021, maybe I was shielding myself more from challenges, protecting what I had, because I thought that was enough to perform, and I thought that was what I needed to perform. But what I needed to do was like blow the door open and just have so many challenges come my way that I reconnect with how I actually face those challenges.
Nice.
And staying connected to young riders, I think, is just essential. Like the
energy,
how they see challenges, how they approach training. Like, to be honest, I had no idea what the team chemistry was gonna land. Like, I'm teammates with a 19-year-old, he just turned 20, Waiton, and a 22-year-old who's gonna turn 23, and I'm 31. I just turned 31 2 days ago. So I was like, I have no idea. They might think I'm weird and old and whatever, but we ended up landing an insane team chemistry.
Sweet.
And I believe in a sense it's because it's the three of us, and then we have the Commensal race support ran by Pierrick and everybody here at Commensal. And without that, honestly, that's also what made me go to Commensal, because I know to have that kind of support for racers at races, and that's like such a cool thing that a brand can do to actually foster that gap between like development and pro teams. So we ended up chatting about everything, like insane like team chemistry. They taught me again how to arrive a bit late at the airport but be chill, and that everything's literally gonna work out, so it's been really cool.
That's amazing. And I guess in a way you've sort of created a little bit of, whether you call it adversity or challenge for yourself, like brand new program, new structure.
That's true.
I think you've kind of stepped up to team manager role.
Maybe that's the answer.
Yeah. And like you're learning a new bike, you're learning a new product, like all of this stuff is challenge, keeping things fresh and like giving you something to battle.
Everybody's different. I think to be on a pro team where everything's like given to you, it really requires a specific mindset and a specific athlete to be able to thrive in that environment. It does come with more stress, like versus now my plate is full and I have all these challenges, but it's kind of on me. Like nobody is out there like putting their day-to-day on the line for my performance. And in a sense, like every athlete's different, and maybe that's how I perform better. And it's like that balance of like how much can you actually have on your plate, and like, but definitely I think by shielding myself from challenges and only focusing on my results and only having that as the focus of my day-to-day life, that was a bit of not a mistake, but like not the right path for me.
For you. Yeah. Like you say, for some, maybe it's perfect. But
I do believe everybody has to find balance though, whether it be like a course, a class, or like something else, like, because it's easy to just get lost. And then if your focus is only the outcome and the outcome doesn't come, like that's just hard
what
times.
You're left with nothing, right?
Yeah.
But even, I guess even now, if your result doesn't come, there's loads of other, like you're more than that result.
Yeah.
You're the team manager. You're looking after these guys.
Honestly, they're pretty good. Like, okay. I wouldn't say I manage them. Maybe like, no, I wouldn't. They would be pissed if I did. Elliot's actually unreal. Like, he has a spirit that's amazing. And I mean, his story is also unreal in itself. Like, last year he was 18th overall, privateer, like full tear bikes at the back of his van.
That's impressive.
Just like literally wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah.
Like, loves it. Like he and to me, what really connected me with these guys is like, we ended up putting some words to it. It was like, we're here to feel fulfilled and race our best.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like, to me, like feeling fulfilled has to come first before doing my best result. So no, it's honestly, they're pretty impressive. They make me a better version of myself. So
that's amazing. You found a good crew.
Yeah.
Sweet. So how's the season been going so far? Because we were talking a little bit before we hit record that they're definitely challenging circuits this year, like full-on physical challenges.
Yeah, a bit of a change in our actual performance that we have to put out. There's a bit more focus into bringing physicality back, which I think is great. Like, I believe enduro, like the fact that you have to do the transfer has to be a variable in your performance. I think we're fine-tuning like how much of that has to be in a World Cup.
Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes I think we kind of forget like how young the sport of enduro is and how much like change it's going through. And I think that's just part of the evolution of a sport to make it something that kids can grow up and look forward to doing. Like, it was really funny actually. Wei-Tin had a memory on his phone the other day, like a photo album memory, and it was Crankworx 2018, I think. And he's about this tall and like looks like an absolute little grom, and he's just walking around Crankworx taking photos with like Cecile Ravenel, Nico Vuyos, Greg Callahan, and just like all these people. And like, I just looked at him and he's like this 20-year-old U21, currently second in the overalls. And then just like, you like grew up wanting to do this.
Yeah.
And that's the first generation of juniors that have that pretty much.
True.
So yeah, it was just like really cool to realize that's the sport. And I do believe that integrating it in the UCI is like the right path forward for it to become recognized worldwide, for it to have federations, for it to have a path for riders to want to make it to there. Because before it was just like this professional circuit. And I personally grew up doing XC because I would have bursaries through federations. It kept me in school. And so I think it's just like, we have to look like really big picture. It's very easy to be focused on like your lens on the current, like, cause you're like working so hard to make this transfer with 2 minutes left. Like, but I really think we have to scope out and be like looking at what is this sport going to be? What is this sport's place? Because there are kids that are growing up wanting to do this.
Yeah, that's super cool.
So yeah.
So you feel positive about the future of enduro then? You feel like we're heading in a positive direction?
I believe that any change is a bit hard and we need to give it some time to bounce back. And it's just a weird storm too, like with the COVID downside and the industry and just like big structures. Like the UCI is just, it's a big governing body. Like it takes time for things to move. Like if you look at the history of downhill and cross country, like downhill and cross country have been around for a long time.
Yeah, compared to enduro for sure.
Yeah. So I think just a little bit of patience, a little bit of belief. Like there's so many riders that want to give their best and be out there and do this. So yeah, just keep at it, I think.
That's cool. And your first world champs this year for...
Yeah, isn't that cool?
That is cool.
And Canazay too. I love that venue actually. So I was like, always thought it would be Finale. But for it to be Canazay is pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, Finale kind of feels a bit like the home of enduro in a way, doesn't it? I can't really put my
sure.
finger on that, but yeah, Canazay also looks cool.
No, Canazay has like epic stages, like big ones, super tech. Personally, really vibe with the riding there, so I'm not mad about it being there. So yeah.
How have you felt the season's been going then? That
was your question earlier. Yeah, we're kind of sidetracked, but
good. Are you avoiding it?
No, it's actually going pretty well, eh?
Sweet.
Yeah, I'm sitting 6th overall.
Yeah.
I'm not good at quick maths, but I was 12th last year.
So that's
so
twice as good as last year.
That's pretty good, yeah. I haven't sat this high in the overall since, I don't want to jinx myself, but like probably 2019. So no, and most of all, like I led into this season with like, well, if like shit really hits the fan, I'll just manage this program, you know, and step away, or like, because all I really wanted was to ride and feel proud.
Yeah.
And I'm still like connected to that, and I really am just trying not to let the outcome come in the way, because it was what I did last year and a few years before. So and honestly, Elliot and Way really helped keep me grounded on that, and also break patterns. Like I'll do dumb stuff, like look over on Instagram and be like, oh fuck, like I didn't hit this jump like the other girls are, or whatever, and then they'd be like, what are you doing? Don't ever do that. And it's just okay, like pattern that was in my life for years, like broken, shattered, like don't even. So
spend all this money on like counselors and psychologists and stuff. All you need is a couple of kids with you.
A couple of groms, yeah. No, so season's going really well. Kind of just started in Group B and finale, which, hey, tough blow. But I was like, only one race, like move forward. And it was interesting, funny sidebar, but like in finale Group B, we got to race stage 4, and then there was an accident that canceled stage 4 for Group A women. So we had a bit of a tougher race. I would say it's fair to say, because we had to rush to stage 4, race stage 4, rush to stage 5, versus they kind of in Group A got a break.
Took the pressure off a bit,
Hey, whatever. I don't really mind. But then I was like, I really need to be in Group A in Poland, and like I was like, am I in Group A? Like my number and whatever. And then I was, and then we just get weathered like so hard for stage 2. So I was like, oh yeah, cool, awesome. I'm in Group A. So that was a bit tough, because in Poland I thought it was really cool because it was a completely fresh venue and not a French one. So I feel like, honestly, I feel like it evened out the playing field. And I think you can see it across categories. And I was riding pretty good, feeling good, attacking, like just all the feelings I've been wanting to feel. Nice. So that was like super nice, because finale is usually a pretty physical race, and I managed 9th at finale. So honestly, that was like okay, like I didn't get my ass handed to me. And then Poland, I just did like, I think I finished 6th. And based on like how I rode there and everything, I'm just happy. And to be honest, I think something was protecting me from being in Group B, scoring my best result, and then having that be like weather affected. I think mentally I really don't know how I would have bounced out of that, because then it would have been, like, am I enough? Like, is my riding enough? Those questions that would have come back. So, I was like, plenty of other chances to get at it, but like the chances are going by fast. Like we only have 2 races left. So, it was good. Leogang was like, just like not my best. I let like a bit of outcome focus creep in and had 2 like medium stages. But still like focused and riding. And then I tried to go home, because honestly, as non-Euros, I've been gone since April 23rd. And I mean, I know Kiwis and Aussies like have it way worse. So when I complain about it, I feel like a bit like, it's not that hard. But for me, like being home and recharging, and so I tried to go home after Leogang. And I think that was a bit of a miss, like, because it was only 10 days at home, then straight to Combloux. I just thought it would be really good, and I don't regret it, because it did recharge me, and I feel super ready for a Lech, the next one. But maybe it was a bit much on the body. So in Combloux, I kind of like had no gas. So honestly, to do a 9th again with nothing in the tank, I feel like last year that probably would have been like outside of top 15. Okay. So yeah.
Cool. So we're in a good place then.
Yeah, no, we're doing pretty good. Yeah.
Nice. And I've heard you say the Commencal deal at the minute is up to the end of 25, and then you're going to think about retiring from racing.
Yeah.
Like, do you still feel that way now that we're like halfway through the season? And
yeah, there was an interesting switch that happened in my mindset actually. Honestly, initially it was just 1 year, and I was like, yeah, I can do 1 year, you know. And then they're like, oh, actually, like Seven Mesh really wants this to be a thing, and like they're gonna push for 2 years, and they're like, your contract's 2 years. And then I had like a little bit of a mental breakdown, a little mentee B, you know, because I was like, wait, what? Like, I have to do 2 years. So that was interesting. That was like early, like before Christmas probably. And then I trained really hard with actually my buddy McKay Vesna, who switched from racing this year and is now doing giant factory off-road coaching. And he's doing my personal coaching, and he kept me honest for sure. Sweet. And I knew as well that I would have to train very hard to be back, to bridge that gap that I wanted to bridge, and to have those feelings that I wanted to have. I knew how strong I needed to be. So I worked pretty hard. And then halfway through the winter, or after a race, I raced PA, like a local downhill race. And then I was kind of like doing well. And I was like, man, if I have one other winter of going at hard and being dedicated, like what can I do next year? And it was the first time in a long time that I had like positively like pictured myself in the future succeeding, and like, so that was a huge mindset shift.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. That must have felt good to suddenly be like, to realize that you were having those thoughts.
Not to feel like, oh, like one more year, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's a really cool life, and like we're so fortunate. Like I live an absolutely privileged life to like be able to race and do that as a living. But it's hard. Yeah. Like it's not easy. Like it means like training, being tired, going to bed, like, and with the level of physicality and the girls training, like everything is raising. So it's a lot of efforts. Yeah. And
sacrifice.
To me, it also matches like when we were talking a bit earlier when I said maybe I was burnt out last year. You know, when I felt that like mindset shift, I was like, it felt like a release, and it just like, so yeah, wrap up this year, do a real hard training next year, start to place my transition pieces. I believe I maybe need a break of like traveling.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I would love to go back to school. I would love to become some kind of body therapist, so physio, chiro, osteo. Sweet. So I'm really not closing any door as to where I could study that in the world.
Yeah.
And having gone to the huge change that I just did makes me realize that the next change is not gonna be easy. Like this fall was really hard, but I'm gonna just embrace it and like go full tilt. And then I know biking will come back around, you know.
Of course.
It's not gonna go too far. So that's kind of my plan. Yeah.
Do you see the team like continuing? Maybe not with you traveling with them, but like having some.
Yeah, I would love for it to, and I would love to remain involved in some capacity. Yeah. Like maybe not in physically being there for a year or two, but it would be so cool if it could continue, because I believe in Canadians doing well at World Cups, and I believe in the talent in the junior women's that we have coming up as well. Like I helped Lily Boucher get on the Rocky team last year, and she's hard at work, hard at it. There's even younger talent, like there's riders in Sea to Sky popping up everywhere, and Ellie Hoskin as well, who's like, I think she's 3rd or 4th in the overall right now of juniors. So yeah, I would love for these girls to have a little bit of a home, you know. So
nice. Yeah, it's cool to see Canadian talent coming through, hey?
Yeah, and also connecting with everybody from Europe, from Commensal, and seeing them like see a value in developing these riders as well. So if I can remain that bridge, because it does feel crazy to, like as racers, we have this insane experience in such a specific bubble, which is like mountain biking racing at the World Cup level. And to just like step away and like totally like cut all my ties would feel a bit weird.
Yeah.
So I would love to use my experience and stay some kind of bridge in some sense. But I'm careful with that because I feel like 2023 were years that I didn't focus on myself at all.
Yeah, okay.
So look out for number one.
Yeah.
And then look out for also what else I care about, you know?
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Nice. We should start wrapping up. Yeah. And normally we ask our final 4 questions, and I think we hit you with 3 of them last time because the 4th one didn't exist.
Okay.
So we'll come back to the 4th one, which is what is something that you do every day that you feel benefits you?
Go outside of like waking up, and opening a door or window and having the sun or rain or clouds or snow, but like whatever air from outside hit me.
Yeah. Every day, always.
No.
As much as possible. Yeah. Wicked. Well, it's been super fun catching up, and it's great to see you in a happy, healthy place.
I agree. The energy feels easier for me and for others, I'm sure.
That's good. And I look forward to seeing how like this season and then next season goes.
Yeah.
And best of luck with whatever you do in the future, but definitely make sure we catch up after next season, eh?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much,
Nice
Chris.
One. Thank you.
Thanks.